atmospheric chatter,
Oh, I hear some.
nature sounds.
That works with the shape static. There we go. All right. Well, okay. This is just going to be an odd show.
Well, that's
Imagine
why I'm
that.
here. Imagine there's no audio.
And let me see. What am I thinking about? Oh, I was thinking about something before. I'm distracted. Oh, I don't know. It was John and Yoko stuff. I'd like to see that footage. That would be great. So that's
The Mike Douglas stuff?
Yeah.
Yep, there's a whole series. It's a box set now. It's like, the 5 episodes.
Okay. I was going to say
And
they were
remember
like
his-
1 week or something.
His shows, and it's also the uncut, no commercials and whatnot, but they had your before show and the after show and little interviews that they had in between. And all the stars that they had, I think, well, anyway, there were a lot of stars that came by for jam sessions and things like that.
And then they killed John Lennon.
We're not going to give Mark any satisfaction of being mentioned one more time, but Mark, you did it. How's that?
Well,
I can't, yeah. The funny thing about that is that at the time that it happened, John and Yoko were just getting ready to plan a small tour.
I know.
And at that time, their stop was going to be in Hawaii to do the Mike Douglas show, to do another guest cover.
Really?
Yeah, and that's where Mark comes from in the first place. He was living it, so he got on the planes with the name of John Lennon, got over here, and they did him in anyway. So, I mean, he was going to do it no matter where he was going to do it. But well, he just ruined everything.
Yeah.
He did. Mm-hmm. I don't think if he ever got out, which he's been purpose to. I don't think he'd last long. Even if he's been redeemed by whatever. It's like poor Charlie. He didn't kill him, but he had everybody else do it.
Mm-hmm. Well.
Just because he has power.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's never belonged on the outside.
Have you Googled John Lennon and George Bush on the same Google? Try it.
Is it funky? Is it sad? I mean, like,
it's revealing.
Does it go revealing more than all the stuff we're mixing?
It's right in there.
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah. Politics have run deep and rotten for a long time, and I mean, just both, mostly probably just because of my perspective from my time in life. I kind of mark the time from the assassination of Kennedy. But the same gang of people all seem to tie together from that mark right on up. It seems to go back to the Nazis, where Prescott Bush financed the building. Now you have somebody upside down face there just went by.
Yeah.
Who was that?
A guy.
Okay.
There's actually a gaggle of people here and there. I was lucky enough to when I was little, I was able to do 16mm black and whites of a commercial being shot. As far as I know, it was just a New England beverage. I don't know if it was everywhere else. And they had this jingle that I heard every day of my life when a local AM station would start up. And so I was lucky enough to be able to shoot one of their commercials in action. And I just held on to the footage. Of course, I'm sure the beverage is still around. But I don't know if it's everywhere. And I just tweaked it and changed it and made it home. I mean,
still use it.
Yeah. Everything's recyclable.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. Now I know what I was going to tell you. There was a guy named Howard Solomon Now, you may not know his name, but he owned a club in New York called the Cafe A Go Go. And he brought the cream to the United States for the first time. He took Frank Zappa to Europe for the first time, and he was one of the guys that gave Bob Dylan a job when nobody else would, and stuff like that. And and he made lots of rock and roll history. He's known real big. But when he took, I think he made the film when he took Frank Zappa to Europe. And they filmed, I want to say it was on a Sunday, the show was on a Sunday, and they filmed it, and they ran a lot of film before the show during the setup and stuff like that. And I remember some of the scenes were like with a wide angle lens, like running down some of the equipment with lots of knobs and lights on it, and wall like that, and across the face of the amplifiers, and down the neck of the guitar and that kind of stuff, and I think that by the time the show started, they had run out of film, I think had run out of film by the time the show started, and there was nowhere to get any film on a Sunday. They just couldn't get any, and so Howard told him to take that same film, and he says put it right back in the camera and run it through again.
Oh, great!
He did that, right? And so the film is is double exposed. Every foot of the film is double exposed, and if you watch it one way, you see the show with all the setup backwards, and all these close-ups with the fisheye lens and all are running backwards on top of the show that's running forwards. Yeah.
Did it sync up frame wise? I mean, did the
apparently they did. Apparently that would be probably more of an accident.
Yeah, because every time you load it, you're not guaranteed those sprocket holes.
The sprockets are going to be on the frame, right? But if they hit, if the first one hits on the frame, you're good to go.
I love it.
So they did.
That's great. Well, see, I mean, everything you think is brand new is been done before.
But he just told him. He said,
"That's great."
He said, "Flip that film over." He said, "Put that same film in and run it back through." Talk about taking a chance of coming out with anything.
Really? I mean, because you could have just obliterated everything, made everything just totally either all white or all black. I mean,
it could have been just a mess and everything off sync and everything. It could have been terrible. But he won an award for that film.
There you go. I wonder how did it overlay on the sound? Or did that even matter?
I'm guessing if they flipped the film over, the sound would have been over on the other side.
So it's,
I would guess.
Or maybe dominant on each. One would be dominant on one side.
They would only want the sound.
Well, you figure you wouldn't have too much sound of just
the setup.
You'll have knocking around of microphones and banging of
you really
things like that.
You really wouldn't care about much more than the show.
No,
probably on the sound.
And maybe it would just overpower it. But that's cool.
And even that was chopped up and jumpy. I mean, they didn't have any film.
Oh, geez, have you ever watched any of the Who footage? The Kids Are Alright? Mm-hmm. Okay, the newer DVD, I got a box set, it was about 4 or 5 years ago now. Mm-hmm. They went back and they restored everything digitally. And they found out that...
I'm trying to figure out what camera shot am I on. No, we're going back to the other one. Okay.
They look back in time, and when the film came out in '76, I saw it then, and to me it was perfect. I mean, it looked like a bunch of people had their own versions of, like fans and stuff. They had their own Super 8 to 16 millimeters that they brought to the show, and they just tried to get everybody's copies of everything. Well, what they did was they transferred that in time, and then sooner or later, I mean, not too far after that, it all went to video disc. But all it was just transferred straight from the movie over. No magic digitally or anything. And then they came out with a DVD. But that was just straight off the video disc, which was still the first transfer.
And they digitally remastered.
So now they go back to the original material, and there are whole sections where there's either no image, no striping of any sound, just footage is deteriorating. You figure that was like, what, 30 years? 40 years, 30 years, whatever. And so that they go through the second disc of this whole thing is just showing you how they went through and restored all this stuff. It was really fantastic how they had to clip things and change the perspective of the way the what you're actually viewing,
Mm-hmm.
so it's blocked out and sort of angled so that it doesn't show all the water spots and
Mhm.
things that are shown throughout the years, celluloid disappearing,
Right.
and they really zapped it up pretty well. It looks pretty. Try to explain it. You'll see nature stuff coming by, and ducks floating upside down.
Upside down.
It's sort of
A lot
hard to.
upside down.
Or well, it's just as equal, straight up. It's just as equal.
Mhm.
At one point, they both hit just about here. Both of them hit center at the same time with the tree,
Oh,
and then they part their own way.
Mm-hmm.
That was unplanned.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
I didn't want to put too much thought into fixing and timing and syncing, because the more you do that, the more you ruin the. It was a moment in time,
mm-hmm.
and the more you play with it, the more you're not being true to the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, this is, this is not what everybody else sees when they go to the lake. This is just what I see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I have a headache a lot of the times.
Do you have a lot of headaches?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's why I can't wait for it to rain. I don't know if I think it's a sinus thing this time
Mhm.
around. But even back in Massachusetts, I lived in the mountains of Massachusetts, no headache problem my whole life. I love the dark, that's why I work at night.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have these atmospheric problems. You definitely feel when the weather needs to clear up, like when you're waiting for not a really good snow, but snow clears up a lot of pollutants.
Mm-hmm.
And
It does.
when the rain comes by, it's refreshing. You watch the stuff roll down the street, and it clears things up. Now, I'm not saying the rain is clean. Probably far by it.
But it's certainly things in the air.
Yeah. Now I went to Charlotte to film Hanson last week,
Mm-hmm.
and then on the way back, I'd never been on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Really?
Granted,
How long have you been up here?
well, I've been coming back. I don't know, off and on for about 10 years. But
That should have
I
been
don't
the
have anybody
first
to
thing.
go. I don't have anybody to do these things with. I'm not going to do these things by myself.
So that should have been the first thing. Someone should have taken you on the Parkway, like your first week in Asheville.
Well,
Someone should have
the
taken
thing
you to
is,
the Parkway.
To
You know
me,
that's true.
if I woke up out of a dream, to me it looks exactly like you're going on the Kangamingus Highway in New Hampshire, or you're stuck on the Mohawk Trail going between Massachusetts and New York. It's just exactly the same. The season's just off. That's all.
Uh-huh.
Well, anyway, so I went on the Blue Ridge Parkway last week. And we didn't get to stop anywhere because Marsha was just not. After the night before with Hanson, she just wasn't up to. She was asleep,
Uh-huh.
so we really didn't stop anywhere. But I wanted to. I never got to see any falls or the walk bridges. I don't know what you call those.
Swinging bridges or
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
I mean, I see them on the commercials, and
Uh-huh.
I actually.
I've never
between-
gone off on one of
Well,
those.
between the two shows, I'm not going to give a plug. I can give a plug. With Rapid Ralph runs the road. Okay, his shows are great. I don't have to use my gas. Okay, he goes all the places I'd like to go, and then if I want to see, I could just record it and play it really slow, and I'll know how to get there. On the other hand, I can watch.
Are you listening today, Ralph? You're getting a plug.
And then with Van and his Trail Explorer,
That's
he's so
fabulous.
fantastic. I watched him just before I
Van
came-
does the best job, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's funny.
He goes to the right
And
places. He's so
He
good.
does, and I don't camp. My idea of camping is, you like that idea?
Okay.
My thoughts of camping are going to a Hojo's with a detached restaurant. I don't camp, or maybe sleeping in the car or something. I don't camp. I've never had the chance either, but I just don't do it. It's like I've never been stung by a bee.
Never been stung by a bee.
And I know I still have the rest of 2007 to go, but at every New Year's, I'm like, oh, thank God I never got stung last year. I've been doing that since 1958.
Even
Yeah.
as a child, you were never stung by a bee?
Oh, no. I don't run very fast, but When I know there's a bee coming,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not around. Yeah, I just don't. Bees, snakes,
Mhm.
spiders. Well, the guys that hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just don't do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots of big ones down here.
Bees,
Bugs, spiders.
bugs,
Oh,
spiders.
bees. There's some out there. I don't know what country they're from, but they look like little helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
I see them at the plastic grass park all the time. In
The plastic grass.
we
park?
call it the plastic grass park, George and Mary. It's the batch of soccer fields down there in O-Team,
Okay.
or next to the nature center.
Okay, I have sort of I have hopefully information of interest to discuss. Today is October the 19th, and I believe that today is the day of the zombie walk. And I don't know a lot. I think this one is the second annual zombie walk. What I need to do is find out if they've got an express up in the front, because that's an old
that's
one.
old. Yeah.
It needs to be the current one.
So is this the same thing that I saw filmed last year, bits and pieces?
Uh-huh.
Some people walking through the streets, like all in
Zombie.
zombie garb.
Like Night of the Living Dead, brains.
See, I just didn't know. I only saw bits and pieces, and I didn't hear any verbiage with it, so
Uh-huh.
I didn't know. I didn't know those. So it's now an annual event.
And I understand that it starts at first. I was told it starts at 6 at Montford Park, and now I've been told it starts at dusk at Montford baseball court
Down there.
Yeah, down near the amphitheater. So, and I think that's the accurate thing. Also tonight in the River Park, Sabre is doing a labyrinth. Where I don't know the details on that.
Yeah.
Here we go. I've
It looks
told.
like last year's picture, doesn't it? Paul Marriott or something like that.
I was told that it's on page. Let me see. If I can find the page, will you read what it
Sure.
says too? See if I can
By
do
the
it.
way, if there's anybody out there with the Mountain Express, I wish you guys would cover some of our programs and give us a little push.
All right, that's an idea. Well, you need to
gotta
go
call
down.
them.
You need
Yeah.
to go down and speak to them.
I've had things they've printed. You know, I've done fireworks pictures.
Okay, here I'm gonna pull our soundtracks out and just go with the.
Okay. Now, if I stutter a lot, just hang by.
This is your fancy.
Okay. It says
That's
here
your
on the
fancy-
Mountain Express by Allie Marshall. Do you know her?
No,
Okay.
not by name. I don't know names. I'm so embarrassed.
May not be a real name.
I don't remember names.
Okay.
but go
This is
ahead.
called Death of the Party. Second annual zombie walk lurches into Asheville. The instructions for the upcoming zombie walk, Asheville's second such event, are simple. Get ready by burying your clothes. Sounds gross, right? But according to the forum on zombiewalk.com, there's a plug, planting your threads in a garden or other muddy patch of ground about a week before the event gives the necessary mildewed. I've never seen the word. It looked like milkweed with a D and a D and a D. Mildewed effect. Other tips include painting skin with liquid latex for wrinkled and peeling look, or going to a costume shop. Root of zombie rot.
Root of zombie rot.
Zombie rot.
Okay.
A concoction that leaves skin temporarily rough looking and corrupted, like an advanced case of leprosy.
Okay.
But would-be zombies taking part in this week's Ashtober stroll don't need a team of cinematic makeup artists. A torn suit, some fake blood, and white makeup will do. Oh, and a hankering to munch on the brains of the living, of course. The reanimated deceased, often the subject of horror films and more pop culture specific Michael Jackson's Thriller, conceptually originated in Afro-Caribbean voodoo practices. Folkloric traditions trace mentions of zombies back to Middle Ages France and even the ancient epic of Gilgamesh.
Uh-huh.
The Night of the Living Dead contemporaries are more bumbling pack of flesh-hungry automatons than nefarious monsters sent to carry out the vindictive wishes of some evil mastermind. But local horror writer of Ashtoberfest, contributor Dan Burello, points out that the whole zombie thing is an excellent metaphor to the consumerist culture. There's a line. He,
Is that savable? Is that quotable?
yeah, it's a quote. He adds that the zombie walk, they should like record zombie music. I mean, the zombies.
Oh,
She's not there? Anyway. He adds that the zombie walk draws heavily on the work of George A. Romero, who created Night of the Living Dead, along with Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, and the recently released Diary of the... I thought it said Dairy of the Dead. Similarly, zombie strolls, practices of irreverent fun, are loosely organized throughout the United States and Canada. One of the first took place in Toronto 4 years ago. Minneapolis's annual zombie pub crawl attracts hundreds of participants. The Asheville event, though mostly spread by word of mouth, drew about 250 people last year.
Oh, wow.
In the style of a flash mob, a recent phenomenon where a crowd gathers quickly, does something bizarre. Oh, they need to put arrows in this. And then disperses. So the crowd comes and then it just goes away just as fast as it got there.
Right.
The zombies ambled from the gates of Riverside Cemetery into downtown Asheville, and in an unplanned but inspired move through the tourist-filled Grove Arcade. That must have been something. Borello's hope this year is similar walk, Shamble he calls it, to Pritchard Park, where zombies will be treated to surprise performance, and then onto the Food Lion Skate Park to enjoy it as yet to be named band. Potential zombies should be aware that this is a family-friendly event geared toward law-abiding fun. No zombies should harass onlookers, not lurkers. Because the group doesn't have a permit. Zombies need to keep their shambling to the sidewalks. Several years ago, there was a big Halloween riot, Borello recalls, referring to an impromptu late-night parade in downtown Asheville in 2002, which ended in a violent conflict between paraders and the Asheville Police Department. We don't want to be associated with that, it says. Instead, the plan is to jumpstart an Ashtoberfest Halloween tradition. The horror writer points out that while Christmas is deemed the family holiday, it's actually Halloween that gets people out of their houses, walking around their communities and visiting neighbors, thanks to costume trick-or-treating. So why take the theme a step a little further? Salem, Massachusetts, yes, that's where they shot Bewitched. Yep. Is Halloween headquarters. Borello notes, we're trying to give those guys a run for their money because Asheville is much weirder, especially in mildewed clothing and liquid latex.
All right.
Beginning to end.
So that's tonight?
That's tonight.
And
It
what-
doesn't really say. Oh, here.
Does
Okay.
it say what time?
Yeah, ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. It says, who? Ashtoberfest Zombie Walk. What? An undead stroll in costume through downtown Asheville. Where? Starts at Montford Ballfield, ends at Food Lion Skate Park. When Friday 19th, meet at dusk. It's kid-friendly and it's free. myspace.com/Dan in the Army.
Dan in the Army?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
What?
that's just where it is. You know.
Okay. Well, that's it.
All right. Now, see up there on the screen right now. I'm running my credits because I want to show you what I wound up with an Anarchy TV logo that I had one up
Okay.
when you came in.
Right.
And this is the one that I've been running normally
Right.
when it comes up.
And I see that.
And I'm gonna pop it to full screen when it comes up.
Okay. And I'm the one that called and complained about you. This is myband.com.
Uh-huh.
I'm the one that did that. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
well,
I wasn't insulting you.
No, I need to know these things. I fixed it, as you may have noticed.
Yeah, like immediately.
See?
Here we go. Oh, I love it.
Is it still there? I can't seem to steal it. Well, I'm gonna steal it like that. It's too late. All right, back to the picture-in-picture. Okay, blink.
Yeah, I was at a local grocery store. You can say Ingles. And I was parked in the parking lot, and I'm getting ready to get in my car, and I looked over and I go, and I saw this white truck, and it had the anarchy sign. I'm like, hey! I didn't know it was yours. And you come bopping out, but I'm already, I just got out of work, and I didn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, you were sort of in a rush, but I'm looking at your,
in a rush.
yeah, but I'm looking over and I go, how many people would have that logo, you know?
Well,
like,
not a lot.
oh no, you know. Well, I thought you did some kind of merchandising kind of something, and
Yeah, I'm gonna try to capture it just for the fun of it. It'll be after this.
here we go.
See? There, I've got it captured. Now I can hold it there as long as I like it.
Cool.
See, I can come back to us, and if I need it again, I still got it. So that, or I can let it just be
Overlay.
Yeah, or you know what else I can do with it? I can put it back in there.
Cool.
Oops, there. And nobody will know what that is. It's just something that sticks up there for a little while, huh? And I can do that, and I can change the DVD.
Hey, I went to the movie theater last week. I was looking for a certain movie, but they weren't playing it. But I did see the National Geographic Sea of Monsters in 3D. And I brought little George with me.
Wow.
He's going to be 7.
National Geographic
Yeah.
Sea of Monsters.
Sea of Monsters. These are 3D glasses from that show.
Oh, I didn't know what that was. Those are they're very nice 3D glasses.
Yeah, they are.
Are you supposed to turn them back in or not? You
No. You get... Oh, I hope not.
Oh, yeah.
No, you get them sealed. And you open
Yeah.
them up yourself. They're made by Real D.
I saw Andy Warhol's Frankenstein in 3D.
That must have been fun. That must have been fun.
But, well, go ahead. Well, that must have been excellent.
Yeah, the trick is, little George doesn't like to sit in the very front of the theater like most little kids.
Uh-huh.
He likes to sit way in the back, which is advantageous to this film because as these prehistoric sea creatures are coming at you, it fills the whole theater when you sit in the back instead of in the front.
Uh-huh. Hey,
You want to do a PSA, dude? At your leisure?
would you like me to play a new PSA?
Yeah, it is a world premiere.
World premiere.
Another world premiere.
Another world
This is an
premiere.
exclusive day.
Well, I'll need to take
Just
this out then.
When you get around to it.
Well, we like to.
Yeah, I've only seen one of the PSA dudes. I like that. They're cool.
Yeah, this is the third one.
Okay.
See, I missed number 2. Are we gonna someday have available like a whole show of just PSAs?
Probably will, eventually.
That'd be cool.
Most of them have been around 3 or 4 minutes so far. But
Okay. Well, now we're gonna lose our still here in a minute.
we have a ton of outtakes
With
too.
picture and picture.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
Huh. God.
Our edited product usually ends up about the same length as our outtakes.
Oh, is that it?
That's just the menu, yeah.
Okay. So now I have to play and then go to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sound. There. Oh.
There we go.
So yeah, URTV, hello, what's up my peoples? I'm the PSA dude, and I'm driving around downtown Asheville reading PSAs, and this is episode 3, I think. If you don't know anything about URTV, it's a public access station facility here in Buncombe County.